Okay, can we restart?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the desk. Going to be game number 4 on the way. Titans and the Juggernauts have looked pretty interesting thus far. 1 game going to the Juggernauts, 2 so far to the Titans. But the green team hang on to what they can control. Aggro, how you feeling after that game?
Feeling really good. It was a good game to watch, and you know, just pretty crazy that FDOT went 0-20 million yesterday.
It was 21, like blackjack. That makes me the
Oh,
winner.
is that what you were going for?
Exactly. It was a bit. Bean burrito.
You actually fell first.
There's no way, dude.
Well,
shout out to Jameson for saying bean burrito in Tom's ear as he was talking.
Listen, this is my role. This is what I do.
Are you feeling euphoric?
I am. We've got picks and bans. What did you just say? I don't even know what he said. I'm gonna assume picks and bans might be on the way.
Professional broadcast here, by the way.
Yeah, this year is my year. Do you remember that bit?
I do remember.
That's
that.
a good bit.
I made.
Do you want me to talk with production, and you and I can switch right now if you're feeling a little off?
Can we mirror the shot? If we can mirror the shot, I'm down. But I'm not going to
ask them to do that.
See, I know that's a tall ask. I know they can't do it. So no, I'm not gonna.
Okay, you could have just said no.
Yeah, no.
I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah. Well, here's Baskin getting ready for the next game. JeffHindla over there in the support position. And Zyrhoes and Benji, honestly, are who I've been looking at. Funball, you know what was really cool? They showed the Funball solo kill replay. I don't even, they definitely don't have it. The missed gank opportunity. Funball ran away from 3 separate players. Now, playing for SK, Funball's used to just getting collapsed on by an entire team, so he's pretty good at it. I mean, even back in the day when he was playing with Lobster, that's who collapsed on him. But just watching him, Beads, Desert Fury, and my favorite was the player cam. Kieran's just chilling, just no problem, gets out of trouble, ult, has 10 HP and goes, I'm going to get the wave, and sits there and farms.
Despite not playing it a lot in Season 5, he's known as one of the best Anhurs in the world, among like at least the top 5 in discussion between not just his region but North America included. And I think whenever he's playing an aggressive guy, whether it's Anhur or Uller, you got to respect Funballer. Even like it doesn't matter what team he's on necessarily, his talent alone can easily win a lane. And I think that there could be like a little bit more pressure in the dual lane if Titans want to win, because that last game specifically in the solo lane, Osiris versus Chang'e. Chang'e's really good about 1v1s, 1v2s. You can leave her alone for the most part and just focus out and help Funballer.
Well, Freya, fool me once. A Titan not going to be able to deal with that one. Naja also banned out here. Juggernauts, though, certainly got to think about where they're going to go. Scream, you were talking about, the ability for one player to kind of drag things out. Scream, I think, could be the guy for Juggernauts to look at here. Baron going to be played again.
Yeah, there's no way they weren't insta-locking Baron in this spot. I'm glad he got through, man. I love watching this guy play, and I assume it will be in the solo lane here for Benji. I really don't think he's very good in the mid lane right now. Just doesn't bring enough in terms of outright damage.
Yeah.
But has plenty of CC control, utility. He's got it all.
So I can guarantee there's thousands of angry people in internet chat right now. I want you to go a step deeper as we see Chernobog and Thoth locked in and talk about Baron's sort of lack of damage, because at the casual level, he's blowing me up and I can't do anything about it.
Sure, but the thing is, a competitive play, if let's say you're level 11 and you're going to use your whole kit sans your ultimate, you're using 1, 2, 3, it's a jungler who walks at you. If that person can continue to stay on the map and farm, that character can't be played in mid, is usually the general rule of thumb. And Baron just doesn't do enough damage.
Yeah.
He'll put you to 30, 35% with that combo, maybe. Probably not even that much. You're probably sitting at 35 to 45% health right now with where Baron's damage is. Now, he'll also get a heal. He'll get a movement speed buff. He rooted you during that time. You'll be doing less damage after Vivid Gaze. All of those things bring great utility, but you're healthy. And so that's why he really can't be played in mid as much.
Utility is the word. Like I said, a lot of the pros been talking about solo and support. If this winds up in the solo lane, totally, you're the other side of the coin, ex-professional player over there in the solo lane. Tell me about what Baron brings as utility character.
It's just all about poke. You have the MP5 from the blue buff as well, so that damage that you're missing from the mid lane is even being accelerated with how many opportunities you have to poke out your opposition. You're also forcing out the enemy warrior potentially to build build into magical defense, which allows your physical assassin to wreak benefits, and Cerquette being played by Baskin, I think, is going to be a good opportunity to mix and match that combination of damage.
That's the other thing about Baron is that his mana costs are really high. He has really, really high mana costs, and so in the mid lane, where you aren't getting a blue buff, it's very hard to stay in lane for a long time, even though he does have good sustain in the health pool via Consigned Spirits. His mana pools, it really does suffer. So being able to build Breastplate of Valor, being able to get a blue buff and
hey, there's Coop.
not to worry about it,
Oh.
you're in a much better spot. No one's in a better spot now that... Oh,
What?
Coop, are you? Oh
What
my
is
God.
happening?
What just happened? Is everything okay?
Was that a funny
Do I need to
thing?
go check on him?
Was that funny?
I think he just got possessed for like a second.
Coop,
There's ghosts
blink
in
once if you're okay. Twice if you're in trouble.
He's just closing his eyes. I don't know what
Oh
that
no,
one means.
he lost the
actually.
headset. Someone
No.
got in there after him.
Well, Coop coming off of some personal victories. Shout outs to Coop. Thumbs up. We like Coop, right?
What are you talking
Just
about?
went on vacation to Vegas. That's a victory, man.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were talking about.
No, man, I'm giving it up for Coop.
Okay, yeah, go.
Let's
Coop.
look at Coop one more time.
We don't have.
we
We
just-
just talk
I
about
don't think-
Benji and what he's
we
gonna
left Coop,
play, and,
yeah.
and how Baron is, a cool
Remember
guy.
how we were talking about asking?
Ow!
Whoa, that's a
Coop is looking into my soul right now.
Hey, Coop, go Lightning. Yeah, number
Yeah.
one. Yeah, here we go.
Go Islanders.
Nah, we don't know it.
He's not even.
I-
It's literally not even worth acknowledging, which is so much better.
Titan, Baron, Cerquette, and Ram. Juggernauts, Chernobog, Thoth, Amaterasu. So we've got a little bit of control on the side of Titan. That's really what I'm seeing. Cerquette and Ram bringing some damage in the late game, but really I'm looking at all the control from Baron and Cirque. And then Juggernauts, they've got some control, but really I'm just looking at straight power. Amy going to go ahead and donate her passive to Thoth and Chernobog, who are just already spanking players down. I think taking Thoth away from Titan's mid laner Zyrhoes probably an excellent idea as well. Second round bans coming out totally. Cullen, Ratatasker, Janus, and the Tree Man.
I think Ratatasker would be a really solid choice if it wasn't banned, but you need some global pressure, I think, to match that Chernobog. You could potentially go Thor here. We haven't really seen it too often, but for Titan specifically, looking at their draft, there was an option that they could have went for, but this Hun Bats,
I
though,
like Hun Bats.
the control on him is going to really allow this Amaterasu extra burst damage that she's looking for.
I'm a big fan of Hun Bats into immobile characters. He's sort of my go-to thought process when somebody dares bring out Anubis. And I think Baron and Anubis are very similar in how you approach dealing with them as far as just, immobile mages with raw output. Terra and the Morrigan selected here for Titan. Interesting choices.
I like it because now Zyrhoes can play Thoth for, even like a couple of seconds,
He
right?
can also be the life of the party. Again,
Yeah.
it's like the remix of that. And having that ultimate is so nuts in 1v1 and 2v2s. To have two of them would be difficult to deal with, is the words that I will use.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit problematic trying to deal with the double vacuum. Certainly something they got to watch out for. Sobek here going to be selected as the last choice for the Juggernauts. Really, I love what you said about Thor. I think Thor works well because you can also wall your teammates off in a good way. As Baron is sort of sucking you in with the vacuum ultimate, you can toss the wall down and you'll be blocked. I kind of like that interaction. I saw that in some scrims, so I thought that'd be interesting. But the Hun Bats looking for the more offensive way to deal with Baron and the squad. Juggernauts have a draft. They've got a good draft, but looking at what Titan have here, I think this might be the end of the day.
Yeah, Baron, Cerquette, Morrigan. I mean, that's tough to deal with for sure. But the Juggernauts do have Chernobog and Thoth, and those two gods can do a lot of work in their own right. Not a big fan of Variety going back to low pressure after how well he just played on the Osiris. I feel like sticking with that, Cullen or something like that. That did get banned, but could be Achilles or the Osiris again, or we've seen a little bit more Wukong this weekend, something like that. But decides to go back to the Sobek. I haven't seen. We've seen no competitive play of Baron until today, so we'll have to wait and see how that matchup really shakes down.
Could also be the Amaterasu potentially in the solo lane if they really wanted to flex it, but knowing PBM, it's probably
Variety, Croc main.
Yeah.
I'm going Sobek solo, but you're absolutely right. It honestly might be even better.
I think Amaterasu has kill potential if it's in the solo lane. Sobek, not as much.
For me, I think Juggernauts are staring at Arkkyl. Got to do a lot of heavy lifting here. Juggernauts, Titan, Game 4. Finch and Taco, take us away.
Juggernauts able to find that win in Game 3, but can they get it done here in Game 4 when they've got to go up against Morrigan, Baron, and Serket? Potentially 2 Barons. Taco, it's not an easy task.
You can't tell me that isn't one of the best jumps in the game.
It's fantastic.
It's a pretty sick jump.
Baron is very cool. He can ride around on a coffin.
Well, he's not very cool to play against if you don't like getting controlled for years, but...
Taco, if you think about it as him pulling you into the coffin is taking you to the party, then it's good because you're going to the party a lot.
It's a free ride back home. It's just sometimes you don't want to go home at, before the curfew.
Right, yeah, he's sending you home like at 8 o'clock.
I'll have your daughter home by 7 kind of deal.
No way. Home by 7.
That's what Baron does to you. He
I guess,
cancels
yeah.
all your plans.
Yeah, that's what that is. That is canceling
evening.
the plan, yeah.
Benji looking at... Oh, what happened over
Came out
here?
already, yeah. And beats.
It's a feisty dual lane start already, and it's interesting because Jeff on the Terra really doesn't have as much contest typically, but the Astral Arrow Shred from Funballer, but they're losing side of Arkkyl, who's just taking advantage of focusing out. He was trying to trade 1-for-1, and instead Arkkyl with the first blood onto Funballer, quite possibly going to be able to take out JeffHindla soon too.
Well, that's nice. Tom was saying that Juggernauts are going to be very reliant on Arkkyl having a good game here and already off to a strong start here in the dual lane. And that was with the Juggernauts dual lane being the ones that expended both relics, the Horrific and the beads. But even without that, Arkkyl got a little bit lost and was able to free cast.
Funballer just wanted to stick to PBM, and I can completely understand it. It's hard to not stay on target there, especially when the call has clearly been made. But Arkkyl, thanks to that Chernobog passive, that's the main reason why we saw Funballer getting shredded so quickly. For every 3 auto attacks that he successfully lands against some target, it's additional damage being added.
You'll see those crystals building up on you as he hits you with those autos, and eventually it kind of explodes for more damage, and it just doesn't feel... It's not good. We just saw Funballer on the receiving end, unfortunately. I had to go back to base early. And in fact, Oracle's going to be going the way of PolarBearMike and Arkkyl, so they're adding a little bit of extra farm to this lead for themselves, as Benji has a very easy time over here, looks like it, with the Baron up against the Sobek.
That probably is the last thing that Jeff and Funballer wanted to happen, is giving the first blood to the Chernobog, especially when you know that Arkyl's going to probably be looking to prioritize those Devour Gauntlets. Anytime you're a hunter and you get that first blood bounty, you can usually be pretty safe in just trying to rush Devos outright.
Not going to have to worry nearly as much about pressure as Funballer is. Arkkyl did not have the root available to him. He's going to drop that Crystallized Curse down now, but more for damage than anything. PolarBearMike has very little mana, so there might be a potential there for JeffHindla to look for a chance, but not with how much minions they've got to clear. Oh, but Funballer is going to jump in off that stun, but not much else there.
Things are getting pretty heated here in duo. We've been seeing a lot of back and forth action in the duo lane in all 4 of these matches so far, though, Finch.
It has been back and forth so far, so I'm glad that Juggernauts were able to grab that 3rd game victory, because it was looking like it really might end up just being a clean sweep for Titans, but Juggernaut has done a good job to bring it back. We'll see if they can get that done here in this game with Baskin on the Serket and Screammmmm on the Unbots. Even with an Unbots in the game, Baskin still wants the blink so that he can be the one that's being aggressive. Not going to be easy to get away from Fear No Evil.
Because in a sense, that Unbots isn't necessarily entirely for the Juggernauts. Titans can also utilize that Fear No Evil depending on if Zyrhoes decides that he wants to turn into a monkey for a couple of seconds and utilize that kit. It's just very difficult whenever you're forced to play against a Morrigan draft, because you don't usually draft in the back of your mind thinking, what if they go Morrigan?
Right. Now they could potentially have their own Chernobog. Arkyl's having a good game. Well, so can Zyrhoes for a while. You know, once he uses that Changeling ultimate, or, you know, he could have his another Baron if Benji's able to get ahead. I mean, he can pull over whatever it is that he needs. That might not even be the question, though, as Baskin is lurking here in the jungle while Variety lurks in the waters, but he's going to walk over the ward. Variety knows the game's afoot, and not much more kill potential here.
And Variety's just going to stay hugging that T1 tower line, maybe not wanting to allude to the fact that he's aware of what's going on. And Benji just shy of catching that Croc in the lock of the suck down.
Zyrhoes, though, is going to get quite a good bit of poke out in the middle late onto Hurriwind. Catches him trying to run over to those mid harpies. But that's the big ultimate from Benji kind of down. Variety can feel comfortable. Baskin has spent a lot of time over here on the solo side and just splitting farm, nothing else.
And that's the thing, Finch, is that this is the 4th game now with Baskin playing jungle, and I know that it's not his standard role, but prioritizing the solo lane, it's not a bad strategy, and it's definitely the most recurring thing we've been seeing for North America SPL play in the standard SPL competition. But here, I really just want to see Baskin floating over to the dual lane side a little bit more often. I think that Cerket has some great tools in her kit to help punish a Chernobog effectively, and keeping Arkkyl locked down tight is going to be such a huge statement against Juggernauts, as in, we know what your hunter is capable of, but can you set him free?
Can he still have that same impact when we've got our jungler essentially sitting on top of him? Blue buff is successfully grabbed by Juggernauts, but Baskin wants to try and come over. Variety has his ultimate available though, so it's not going to be easy. It's still a lot of time, I agree, and nothing has really come from it in this early game here. Instead, now he's going to be backing and believe on a ward, so Variety even knows, giving that information out to everybody else. And look at this, we see even the dual lane pushing forward. They have nothing to fear.
And I think that's also part of the reason why PolarBearMike is willing to play a little bit more recklessly, solo invading by himself on the Amaterasu support, and he strips away the purple buff, so now Titans have to keep in mind that Juggernauts are fully aware of when that buff's going to be spawning.
PolarBearMike able to very nicely take that one away, but a bit of a slower start to this game, I would say, than some of our other ones. The pace has been pretty quick for the most part, but Scream hasn't really looked for that many gank attempts either, I think is part of why things have seemed a little bit slower. Both our junglers have been a little quiet. There's been some dual lane action, though. They've been fighting over here, but even that's cooled off a bit.
There is a pretty distinct difference, though, between a Humbots in the early game and a Cerket. And
yes.
Humbots, up until level 5, you're still not going to have that much of an impact usually. And Fear No Evil, while it's a great ultimate as far as causing disturbances and creating chaos and separation, you also don't have that much follow-up damage as a Humbots this early on. So that's another reason why I want to see Baskin take it up a notch, because this is his time to shine. This is his time to really create a gap between himself and Scream.
So he's been hanging out on this right side of the map for quite a bit. Arkkyl moving forward. He knows he has Scream waiting for him in the wings, but looks like Scream might be considering backing, and that is going to be the case. He's no longer here, and Funballer will be just fine. Benji lands the root onto Variety and has Baskin here with him in support, but Variety still has the ultimate, should still be relatively safe, so if they're just looking for kill potential, they don't have much here.
I will admit, though, Juggernauts' ward control has been very strong here. Now Benji in a little bit of danger, trying to be on the escape from Variety. Will manage to outrun that lurking in the waters due to that movement speed and the burst heal. Always nice to have.
I was like, man, does this man have sprint? No, just the second ability. Able to get that, as you said, that nice movement speed off, and he only needs to hit one person with it to proc it. Scream, though, drops Fear No Evil at his feet. Baskin gets pinned up against the wall and ends up falling. PolarBearMike is the one that grabs that. The second kill for Juggernauts. Benji gets plucked back in. No beads this time, but he also feels very comfortable. Returns some good damage.
Part of the risk that's involved with going blink on that circuit against the Humbots is
yes.
Fear No Evil and the monkey by himself. Not that much damage to really be super concerned of, unless you have no way to escape it.
And that time he did have to be, or he would have liked to have had a way to escape it, but as you said, did not have it. And it's curious, if he's picked Blink as his relic, you think that would mean that he does kind of want to put his foot on the gas early on, but he's already level 8. I mean, have we seen him use the Blink offensively? I don't think so. As Funballer and Arkkyl might be having another man fight, but it's going heavily Arkyl's way with that ultimate, and now PolarBearMike is here. Funballer almost certainly dead to rights. PolarBearMike grabs a second kill, and JeffHindla rotating in. Not much he can do here.
Jeff wants to maybe try and set something up, or at least buy some time for Zyrhoes on the rotation, but with 4 members of Juggernauts responding to the dual lane aggression that just took place, Titans are left just having to wait for Funballer to respawn. Sometimes you just gotta hold that L.
Now that does force out the dazzling offensive from PolarBearMike at the very least. So that is a small win as Baskin does go aggressive onto Hurriwind, but again, that was just him waiting around the corner. It wasn't utilizing the blink, but he does have an easier time now. Hurriwind had to use the bead, so he could look for a blink last breath. onto Hurry and try and grab him that way.
One thing I really like about what Juggernauts have been doing, though, over the course of these last few picks is they're in, they're out, and that's it. They don't waste any time sticking around. Baskin, however, looking for more onto Hurriwind, gonna get Fear No Evil into the tower. It does manage to connect with that last breath, but there's no follow-up damage onto Hurriwind. He's simply too deep until JeffHindla plays a part with the Earth and Fury.
So JeffHindla is able to find the first kill onto the board for Titans, but Variety's here, Scream is here, and nowhere for JeffHindla to go. 5 kills in total for Juggernaut, and it takes a tier 1, even really a tier 2, it feels like, dive from to find that first kill. I mean, they're just not able to easily get anything going here in game 1, in this game 4.
Well, it's also problematic because Baskin is just putting himself further and further behind. That time he managed to come up with an assist. A little bit of luck involved, if you ask me. And if he continues just playing around those type of moments, things are going to go south pretty quickly because Scream is an SPL caliber jungler and on the best team in North America right now as far as standings are concerned. So it's not an easy task for Baskin. And I know that we might be going, or seeming a little bit harsher on him, but the thing is we know what Baskin is capable of, and we know that he does have these guys in his arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think it's not unfair to say that Game 3 was underwhelming, and Game 4 now, it's been a slow start at the very least. He certainly still has a chance to turn this one around, but he is starting to fall behind Scream a little bit, and Scream has made good use of Fear No Evil. Funballer, though, again getting isolated. Arkkyl landing nearly every auto, but Scream comes in to make sure they finish that one off once he gets underneath the tier 1 tower. 0-3-0 now for Funball. He's been repeatedly ganked here in duo.
And it's not like he's grossly out of position by any means. He's hovering the edge of his tower line. He just doesn't have anybody when he needs them. Jeff trying to help out Zyrhoes to maintain safe farm in the mid lane. Is Baskin barely managing to ambush over the Fear No Evil. Now, nice Cobra's Kiss. Gonna buy him a little bit of time, but the overhand smash will still manage to collect him in the end. Scream credited with another one.
And the problem was he jumped away right into the evade and punish. It looked like coming up from Hurriwind. PolarBearMike comes in on the bottom side. Dazzling offensive gets him 1 kill onto Zyrhoes. JeffHindla in some trouble. Hurriwind is just barely too far away to get the damage onto Jeff over the wall. So Jeff will be okay, but another 2 kills for Juggernauts. They're up 8-1. The momentum has swung entirely in their favor after those first 2 games.
It just feels like Game 3 was the real swap-up moment. Right about halfway through that set, you could just tell, looking at Titans, that they were maybe gassing out just a little bit there, or at least no longer really believing that they had that game under control. And if they're not careful, match 4 could end up the same way.
And what they were able to do, I feel like, in games 1 and 2 was stay even in the 4v4 long enough for Benji to start to rotate over and just have a big impact for the team. Either on the Loki, or I think he was playing the Capellan or the Warrior in game 1. Not entirely sure which one. But in games 3, it wasn't quite the same. He didn't have a big lead over Variety, and when he did rotate over, the rest of his team was too far behind. Could be the same thing happening here.
It almost feels like Titans and Juggernauts have completely swapped draft concepts, because Juggernauts went from these high execution, high technical... Actually, hold that thought, because Baskin might be able to find his very first kill. No, Jeff gonna get it with that monolith. And Zyrhoes now on the run, trying to survive as PBM chases JeffHindla into the T1 with that Matarasu.
He does land the stun, but there's no immediate follow-up there. They were forcing out Zyrhoes on the right-hand side. So Scream does end up falling, as that kill does go the way of JeffHindla one more time, but that would have been much nicer if it could have gone over towards Baskin, as now Fire Giant being looked at by Juggernauts, and really no one in position to defend except for Funballer, and he can't do much. Juggernauts grab the gold.
Baskin probably a little bit relieved, though, to finally knock down Scream for a change, and I didn't get a chance to finish fully addressing it, but Juggernauts went from high execution to low execution necessities and repeated encounters, as in they can just continue to disengage and then run right back in with the same ability and kits, and we'll look for some good poke and possibly some kills. Meanwhile, Titans are very technical with their drafts, and it's pretty much all about playing around Baskin and Zyrhoes.
See if they can get the most out from Baskin here on this Circuit this game, but so far it has not been very much for them. They haven't been able to do a whole lot with Zyrhoes just yet either, but he's got a ton of cooldown at his disposal. He will have many, many more opportunities with this Changeling ultimate to try and change things for Titans here, as this game has gone the way of Juggernaut so far. But a big four-man grouping, aggressive in the mid lane. Unfortunately for them, no one from Titans is around. They won't find much there as Funballer rolls in aggressively and is forced to use his Aegis.
Funballer trying to do what he can. Arkkyl gonna end up losing his Aegis and beads also, but that could cost Funballer and Jeff their lives. Funballer gonna go up into the air. That Astral Barrage might have been looking for Arkkyl instead, focusing on farming out the wave.
JeffHindla immediately dropped the Earthed Fury when this all started, but not gonna save Funballer. Almost trades out with Arkkyl, but this ain't horseshoes. PolarBearMike comes in to grab JeffHindla. Now Baskin and Zyrhoes have to fall back, and the duo lane for Titans continues to struggle after a big rotation from the rest of the Juggernauts.
Titans just seem to really be struggling with trying to keep up with where the Juggernauts are at and where they're going to gank next. Ward vision just so heavily in control here for Juggernauts. But Titans did just finish clearing up around the map. You can see all those wards in separate checkpoints or choke points on the duo side. And still, they just can't seem to get away with any ganks.
And that was the first time I felt like it was a bit of an overcommitment, Taco, from Funballer in particular, but the dual lane there at Titans. They really were trying to box out Arkkyl for the kill, but he does a great job surviving with the Aegis and immuning some of that damage. And then when the big rotation of the rest of the Juggernauts came through, there was really nothing they could do. That
was a free kill on Arkkyl, normally, until the rotation happened, just because Chernobog can buy so much time.
Yes.
And I think that felt a little bit more like Jeff and Funballer getting desperate because they can recognize that they're only going to continue falling further and further behind as long as their lane keeps getting camped in the way it has been. But Scream now looking to alleviate some pressure from Variety by saying what's up to Benji, and Benji doesn't really seem to mind all that much.
He had no purification beads, but still had life in the party. Pyromancer being secured by the Juggernauts, even with Zyrhoes right there over the wall. And 4 members strong, they might continue to push. The monkey did bounce onto Jeff. He wants to blink to it, but they're just going to look for the disengage. Charge Prey to reposition. Zyrhoes was nearby, but Juggernauts grab the Pyromancer, mid-Harpies, and disengage safe.
Arkkyl should be finishing up that Executioner pretty shortly. And when that takes place, Funballer, if he wasn't struggling before, it's only going to get worse from here.
No, it's going to be very difficult for him to try and keep up. But I'm looking here at PolarBearMike. I like this. He's going this sort of hybrid build again. You know, like the Void Shield, the Arkkyl, but this time it's working much better. Can we say the same for Benji, though, as he's being tracked down by Arkkyl and Variety both? And they put him down relatively easy, the 2v1 favoring them. And now Baskin's some trouble as well. This time it's Scream and Hurriwind with the 2v1 advantage, and Baskin is going to try and jump over the wall, but the blink from Scream and the Fear No Evil just too strong. Zyrhoes is right there in support, though, going to go up into Circuit to drop the last breath, but now he has to run away.
Scream managed to jump away right in time. Last breath was applied. But that doesn't even matter because all of Juggernauts are just focusing out this Fire Giant, and no one from Titans even has a clue.
Wow, it's 18 minutes in, and they've got the Fire Giant for themselves. Funballer, instead of rotating, did continue to push over in the dual lane, get some farm that he very much needed, but Variety rotated over, put a stop to that. He'll still be 2 levels behind Arkkyl. In fact, the whole team's going to be behind. 5,700 gold and about 5,500 experience. And JeffHindla trying not to add to that here in the mid lane, just barely making it out.
I love what Juggernauts are doing with their map pressure right now. They not only cause a distraction for Titans by aggressing onto Baskin there by the mid-Harpies, it's just that I don't think anybody would have expected Arkkyl and Variety to just pull the Fire Giant so soon, because they found a nice pick onto Benji, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have the time or damage to just full-on commit to fire.
He was able to shred it quite quickly. Arkkyl at this point in the game, level 17 on the Chernobog with all that extra attack speed, and he is indeed going the attack speed route so far in this build. He was able to burn the objective relatively quickly. It worked out in their favor. And right now, Titans, it feels like, Taka, are just a little bit too far behind to try and take any fights up against Juggernauts. They gotta try and find what farm they can, wherever they can, where Juggernauts keep forcing fights.
Juggernauts have been the only ones forcing the fights. Titans have just been trying to run away from them or the little bit of picks that they have tried to seek out have just completely backfired. So I wouldn't be surprised if Titans may be feeling a bit discouraged about aggressing.
Now, Finland's got to be careful in mid as Baskin gets caught inside the Fear No Evil. Final Judgment right through the back. Puts him down. Hurriwind, of course, is accurate with his shot. Benji's very low in the middle lane. Hurriwind dashes forward for the double kill. JeffHindla, the next target. Arkkyl wants to be a part of the action this time and finds a kill. Only Zyrhoes and Funballer left standing as the tier 2 tower comes down. And 5 members here with the Fire Giant buff. They want this mid Phoenix as well, Taco.
There's no reason to not keep pushing here if you're the Juggernauts. They might, in fact, be looking to tie up the series in general, because with 3 members still dead for another few seconds, Titans could very well be losing game 4 here.
This would be a chance to even up the series and go to the game point. Benji hops up onto the coffin to try and fold them all in. Titan, though, is down to half HP. Someone's got to get a mark onto where Arkkyl is in this fight because he's shredding the objective. Baskin finds him with the last breath. Zyrhoes gets screened. Titan down below 25%, and they just barely can't get it done. Triple kill comes out deicide, and Funballer grabs a few kills, and Juggernaut's going to have to wait before they can celebrate.
A temporary moment of relief here, and the first one that's happened in 20 minutes of gameplay, Finch, because...
And all the time from game 4, or game 3.
Yeah, it's just absurd to me how much control Juggernauts have been able to exert for the past 2 matches. But now is the time for Titans to try and recuperate some of what they've lost. They need gold, they need experience, and Juggernauts just handed them quite a large amount of it by getting wiped inside their base. If Titans can all hit level 20, they've still got a chance. Granted, they have to take every single engagement now outside of their Titan room, because if they're not careful, Juggernauts are just going to full-on commit to the Titan, and with it being at such low health, there's no way that a final judgment from the Thoth and Arkkyl can't just end this one alone.
Juggernauts did make that push after securing quite a bit of gold for themselves, so they've been able to spend all of that here now. Arkkyl is moving so quickly with PolarBearMike's extra movement speed that they could very well have caught up to Baskin, but it looks like they've given up on that. Arkkyl just going to grab Pyromancer, let it go for now. But that Titan is not going to heal back up until the Phoenix comes back. Juggernauts could certainly just jump in and into the game if they wanted to.
I actually want to readdress something you mentioned earlier, was PolarBearMike's build, this like hybrid warrior support type build where you're clearly still trying to deal a little bit of damage, but you also want to have tankiness involved just in case you are required to peel for your teammates. I think that the reason why this Madrazi build wasn't so successful the first time around is just because that game was simply gone too quickly. It was just escalated beyond Juggernauts' control, and so what originally would have been a win more type of build just ended up turning into a Mike, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it became a lose more type build, and that's the kind of build that it was, right? It meant that he was even worse at the only job that he could do for the team. But this time, it makes him even better at it as Fear No Evil only catches Funballer on left-hand side, but he's completely pinned down. Benji goes up into the life of the party, but PolarBearMike can shrug the damage off and regroup with the rest of the team. Now Variety in a little bit of trouble as Zyrhoes has hunted him down, Changeling into the Circuit. But it's not nearly enough damage. It does force out Lurking in the Waters, but Variety can just TP right back in.
Baskin wants to find him, but Variety knows exactly where Baskin's at. Just look at this ward vision and control for Juggernauts. Everywhere is just marked in red.
It looks like it wasn't upgraded, so he had to come back to the tier 2 tower. They have a chance to push forward, but I'm a little bit surprised how reserved Juggernauts have been. I feel as though they could have just kind of pushed down the door and taken it, but they're making sure they get this right.
Better safe than sorry, and I don't blame them for not wanting to take chances because of Zyrhoes, Baskin, and Benji. You never know what can happen when those 3 gods combine their ultimates. Last Breath, and Changeling, and Benji, we've all seen the setup capabilities that a Baron has. Throw a Last Breath, or 2 Last Breaths even.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you might have something to work with.
The fight could certainly get away from you, but Fire Giant now available for all of the Juggernauts. Zyrhoes trying to come in from the backside, it looks like, as he's off in the jungle on the left-hand side. Phoenix has respawned. He's going to come in for PolarBearMike as the only real target that he can grab with additional damage. No, he wants Scream. Brings him down below half health. Up into the air goes Funballer, and he finishes him off. But Final Judgment rips through and brings everyone quite low. Baskin gets Hurriwind as well. So far, this fight definitely is looking in favor of the Titans. They're holding them off, and now they've got Earth and Fury to bolster them even further.
They don't have to overextend here. They can choose to back off
That's
if
right.
necessary. They just need to focus on clearing out these fire creeps and giving their Titans some time to heal. That's the sort of hold that Titans, if they can continue to repeat that performance, if Zyrhoes can continue to invis, surprise, bamboozle Hurriwind into
What a play.
oblivion, then there might just be a comeback.
That was huge. I mean, he finds Scream very early on there in that engagement, and Hurriwind still gets off good final judgment damage despite how hectic those comms must have been in that moment, and very nearly turns that fight back around, but not able to get it done entirely. Titans get 2 kills and hold on. Juggernauts, I think they recognized that it wasn't going to be as easy for them at the beginning as it was. They really wanted to end on that Titan push, and Titans just barely hold on, and maybe they have a chance to stay in this one.
But you are wondering, why not just Siege? And
You're right.
that's exactly
It
why.
did not look easy.
Can never really assume that somebody's completely out of it just yet. Zyrhoes with this poly, I think the poly is the key here for this Morrigan build, because that amount of burst damage would not have been possible without the Polynomicon.
You're right, and the Polynomicon did work, but the only problem I have is because Juggernauts go to the FG, they push down mid, and Titans know what the game plan is, they're able to set up for that play. Zyrhoes can hide and loop around the backside. If they kind of rush them down, Titans don't know exactly when it's coming or from where, maybe they can just jump on the Titan and burn it down quickly. But either way, Titans have certainly put some fear in their hearts this time, I feel like, because that defense was strong as Zyrhoes looks for it again.
Benji trying to throw out whatever spam he can find. Is PolarBearMike now being forced into the Matarasu? Well, they managed to catch out Benji, but it's going to be Scream looking to fully commit with the Fear No Evil.
Now he's got the overhand smash. Arkkyl gets JeffHindla early on. Hurriwind from the backside has plenty of damage for Benji, but Funballer is able to find down Arkkyl by going up to the sky and hitting him with the snipes. Zyrhoes needs to reposition. He turned into Terra, but a double kill now for Hurry. Only Baskin and Funballer to defend. Scratch that, only Baskin to defend. Scratch that, not even Baskin to defend it, but he just barely is able to jump back out. Now they can take down these Phoenixes and come look for the finish. They don't have Arkyl's damage, but they should have enough.
They should have more than enough time, despite the Titan having healed all the way through. I don't even think that Juggernaut should really be worrying. Scratch that, because ambush over the wall, gonna make sure to take down Scream in the process.
What is this cooldown? PBM has the Dazzling Offensive available again, but I think Baskin might have done enough. They don't have Scream, they don't have Arkkyl, and now JeffHindla's back up. The left Phoenix does go down, they do win the fight, but I think Juggernauts can't end here. They gotta fall back.
Titans clinging on for dear life
Wow.
in this set. They do not want to let this series get tied up between themselves and the Juggernauts, and for good reason, because Juggernauts just seem to be growing more powerful with every match that goes by.
They do, and if Titans can close this down now, that's going to be way better, because Juggernauts are the ones, it feels like, building all the momentum, and Titans have the tools. There's been some times this set where the team is behind, and you and I have been like, well, how can they make it back? Well, they don't really have the tools. It's different this time. They've got Life of the Party. They've got Morrigan Changeling. But I feel like a big difference was this time PBM came in early and shut off Life of the Party as soon as he casted it.
Even though Benji wanted to get a nice team fighting ultimate set up there, it was just a little bit too far up past their Phoenix. One main reason why that mid lane Phoenix defense worked out so well is because they had the extended help of the Fire Bird there to somewhat protect them in a sense. It at least invokes enough fear into Juggernauts to where they're not very willing to having to tank that Phoenix for super long periods of time. That's why it can be really difficult without healers in these sort of matchups. And while Amaterasu is a bit of a supplement to that, she's not a direct version of healing. She gives your team a nice movement speed aura, but that's about it.
Zyrhoes could be in trouble here on the left-hand side. He has turned to the Circuit just so that he has enough movement to get away. Scream goes in aggressively, drop Fear No Evil. Benji's going to be the target. Earth and Fury comes out to keep him alive, and he has the heal, but he has to go up onto the coffin just to try and get away, but Scream immediately absorbs it and brings him low. Benji does end up falling, as does JeffHindla. A huge fight for Juggernauts, 2-0.
That should spell the Fire Giant for Juggernauts, completely uncontested as the rest of the Titans members back to base, because they've got to tend to that dual lane that's been missing its Phoenix for a little bit here now. A lot of creeps already stacked up and starting to work their way into the Titan room, and I don't think that Titans are going to have time to even push out the left lane far enough so that Juggernauts won't be able to rely on those fire creeps pouring in if they delay Titans on the defense.
25 seconds feels like an eternity, but that is when JeffHindla will return. But there's no one in mid lane, it feels like. That mid Phoenix is going to come down very quickly. Baskin and Funballer are back in the Titan room to defend. They've got Zyrhoes pushing up in the right side, but Juggernauts still don't feel comfortable pushing in. Titans, it looks like, will get a chance to have everyone respawn, a chance to defend one more time. Juggernauts cannot find a way to make it all the way into the base. Titans still in this.
Titans just need to stop pushing outside of their base walls.
They were very far forward.
Every time they move up and think that they can take the fight away from their Phoenix area, it's just an absolute catastrophe.
And that time the problem was that Zyrhoes was spotted out very early on. He was invis one more time. He was trying to loop around, and I think he was going to just look for Variety. There wasn't really much else around, but Variety sniffed it out. He definitely knew he was there, and he, along with Arkkyl, immediately chased him out, forced him to use the Changeling defensively, and they didn't get that same burst they were used to having early on to start the fight.
I do love that Titans, despite all odds being against them in these circumstances, a player resilience and pro player resilience at that is just impressive stuff, Finch.
Right.
These guys have had their backs to the wall time and time again. They know how to combat it. Speaking of which, Variety gonna have to pluck away from danger. Nearly got caught out there by the Titans team, but just a little bit too tanky for them to have enough time to properly take him out.
Arkkyl keeping the wave pushed up in solo. Meanwhile, they've got Baskin hanging out in the middle lane, trying to keep those waves pushed up, and the whole rest of Juggernauts pushing down duo. Now Baskin makes a rotation over just to make sure the wave doesn't come in on the solo side. Phoenix, he keeps it healthy. PBM makes a rotation over, I guess to give him the aura to get him back over a little bit faster, and now they're going to be ready for that siege into the Phoenix.
Really like Juggernauts attempting to ward inside of the base. Funballer catching a nice heal from the Terra, but this Thought Cloak is just too much to handle. Zyrhoes already getting burnt out pretty heavily.
He has to transform into the Terra, and they have to drop the shell just to barely keep him alive. Phoenix on the left-hand side has dropped, but everyone's still alive. They've only had to give up Changeling. I know I'm saying only, that's a pretty big ultimate, but they still have a lot of tools available to defend, and Juggernauts gave up a lot.
Better than losing Zyrhoes outright.
Yeah.
They're going to need his damage, because even in the Morrigan stance, without that ultimate, he's still a constant threat against Juggernauts.
PolarBearMike gets pulled in and stunned underneath the Phoenix. Baskin drops last breath, so PolarBearMike is going to drop, but Baskin pays for it with his life as well. The snipes all hit on the Hurriwind, so he has been brought down to half HP. Juggernauts, one more time, have got to retreat, and Titans have got to push out these minions. They lost Phoenix in left and Phoenix in mid, but maybe Juggernauts are not giving this up. They're pushing back in now with their minion wave.
Just looking for a little bit of healing is all, and they recognize Zyrhoes went to the opposite side of the map. It's going to be Arkkyl looking to commit onto him. Zyrhoes can't afford to contest it. He used that invis just moments ago to finish clearing out the Titan room waves.
Now it's a 4v3 in favor of Juggernauts, with Baskin coming back up in about 22 seconds. Juggernauts don't want to push into the Titan room. It looks like they want Phoenix on the right-hand side. JeffHindla controlled. Fear No Evil pushes him up against the wall. Final Judge off the mark, so JeffHindla just barely still alive, but Hurriwind comes in to punish. JeffHindla does get Variety in return, but Funballer, he's got to look for Arkkyl in the back, who deletes him. Benji keeps them pulled in, keeps Arkkyl stunned, controlled underneath the Phoenix. Benji gets the kill, and Aegis lets him live. They're still clinging on the light.
Oh, nearly escaped, but just not enough time. Baskin's gonna end up jumping forward, trying to look for pickup kills onto Scream or Hurriwind, but this is a risky position to be in. He's got to decide, do I defend middle Phoenix, do I defend the right lane, or do I clear out the creeps that are already whacking away on my Titan? And if he's not careful, he's got 5 more seconds till Zyrhoes is back up and running. Scream and Hurriwind looking to end.
They are going to push into the Titan room right here, right now. Hurriwind jumps in. Scream is right there with him in support. Mid-Phoenix respawns, but Baskin finds the kill onto Hurriwind. That forces him back out. Mid-Phoenix is a nice defender, but they've got to defend the actual minions that are on the Titan as well. Now the Fire Wave should come in. That'll take down the Mid-Phoenix one more time. Titans are just barely keeping this ship afloat.
I'm not sure that Zyrhoes is going to be able to clear out this wave in time. It's going to be cutting it close, and just like that, Mid-Phoenix respawn one more time. If you looked at the map, you would not believe that Phoenix is more than 1 HP.
No, it's hard to tell. But, you know, 5 more HP than they needed on that Phoenix, right? Titans are keeping it cool and calm. Easy defense. Let's just stick in this one more time because this is buying them time. They're nearly 6 slide on everyone. I believe we just saw Zero sell so he can go and buy the pen boots. I think he sold the cooldown boots with pen. So, I mean, they're getting to the point where they're full build. The Fire Giant's really the only big difference between the teams.
The past 10 minutes have just been a full-on war of attrition, Finch. It's whoever slips up first, and for the past 10 minutes, it's been Titans. But despite dropping the ball a couple of times at the start of an engagement, they've managed to recover every single time to the point where Juggernauts, even with as much of a lead and as controlling as they've felt this entire match, still cannot end 35 minutes in climbing.
They're making them pay just enough so that they don't have enough when they get to the Titan. They've got 4 members pushed. Hurriwind's still not here for Juggernauts just yet. Phoenix on right is plenty healthy. Phoenix in mid is just barely standing, and Phoenix in left should be respawning soon. Variety wants to try and force in now because when left Phoenix respawns, that's when the Titan will start to heal back up a little bit. Juggernauts considering repositioning. They want to move over to the left side, Phoenix, and grab it as soon as it comes up. And Titans aren't quite in a position to defend just yet.
It's like I mentioned earlier, Finch. Titans aren't being given any time to think, and JeffHindla already going in. Benji with the suck trying to pull everybody back into the fray, but he's not going to be able to. In fact, JeffHindla eating so much shred out of Hurriwind.
They do at least force PBM to use his ultimate defensively, but Scream removes Baskin, but Zyrhoes gets to Hurriwind. Zyrhoes falls in return, though, so it's a 4v3. Funballer snipes didn't get quite enough this time, but PolarBearMike and Variety are a bit low, about half health each. They've got the Fire Giant, though, sustaining them back up. Funballer, Benji, and Hindla. That's who can keep the hopes of Titan alive right here, right now. As they move into the Phoenix, Funballer immediately has to roll back, avoid Variety, and has to use Aegis just barely to stay alive.
Funballer doing everything in his power to try and buy himself some time, but it's not going to be enough. Benji now forced into the Aegis, just going to make it into the Titan room, or into the fountain, but the same can't be said for Jeff. He's going to end up falling here, and with Titan at only 30% health, that's going to do it as Juggernauts finally managed to close this one out.
Not an easy victory at all for Juggernauts. Titans made them fight for every bit of that, but they get the win. They force it to a Game 5 in this set at the eUnited Invitational. Again, your all-star event. The best of the best here at this event, and it's looking that way, Taco. It has not been easy for anyone so far, for any of these games to come about. It has just been Titans and Juggernauts throwing down.
No, there's a reason why it's been so close between these two teams, and that's because these are 10 of some of the best players from North America and Europe. I don't care what anyone says or where their teams might be in the standings. That is irrelevant. When it comes to an individual talent level, all of these players can come out with a bang. And
we've been seeing it happen here all weekend long. And the question's now starting to be posed over to Titans. I mean, they had a very strong draft. They had Morrigan, they had Baron Samdi, they had Serket, and those still weren't enough tools for them to win that game.
It just didn't feel fluid enough. That was the main issue that they kept encountering, because I just thought that Scream's gameplay on the Hoombots was everything that you were looking for out of the Monkey, because Fear No Evil's all over the place. Baskin gets shut down early on. I think that risk versus reward situation he ran into with the sighting on Blink over Beats, it's a time-old question. It's like those instances where maybe you load into a duel game for ranked and you're against Poseidon, but you still think to yourself, I'll be fine with Shell and not the Aegis.
And then you wish you had that Aegis a little bit later on. But who is your MVP there from Game 4 before we move into Game 5? Go ahead and vote for us in the poll so we can get your thoughts on that one. I feel like Hurriwind's been playing excellently, really all set long. And just to give you some proof that those memes on Thursday were just memes, Hurriwind's certainly a very, very capable mid laner. One of the best we got, and he's been putting it on display.
Mike said it himself. I knew from the start that I wanted Hurriwind on my team. All jokes aside, he is a very fantastic player, and I think that that Thoth gameplay kind of speaks for itself.
Oh, it absolutely does. A ton of damage that came out from there, but again, it's up to you, Mixer Chat, to vote for who your MVP was, and it's up to me to get us back over to the desk for some more nonsense, I imagine.
Thanks a lot, Finch. Tom Battinger here alongside Ryan Agro-Bailey and Anatoly Alexana. You don't have a gamer name. Your name
No, it's Anatoly Alexana.
Yeah, you kind of messed that up. F. Dot.
Hi, I'm Tom Battinger here with Ryan Agro-Bailey and Anatoly Alexana.
Thank you.
Like that? Yeah.
Put respect on the name.
No. Fantastic stuff, bringing us to a game number 5. Wow. I mean, we did not expect 5 games at all.
I think the main focus point here is Baskin. I think that the
Yeah.
first 2 games playing the Robin, it helped him out. Now he's playing something that he's not used to. He's playing the Circuits. It's showing a little bit of weaknesses. There needs to be maybe a more bruisery jungler for him.
Could be. Look, it turns out that as good as Baskin is, against the best SPL players in the world at their own roles, that over time that will be exposed, that he isn't quite as practiced in that spot. And Scream was up like, what, 4 levels during that game for a long time. He was dictating the pace of the game perfectly, just doing everything right, it seemed like, in the jungle. Baskin was lagging behind a bit.
That's why he gets MVP. All of the good stuff you said about Scream is why Scream gets MVP. Baskin doesn't get MVP because he was lagging behind. The monkey coming at it, like, just looked out of control. Missed ult, doesn't care. Just continues with the follow-up, and then finally gets him with the overhand smash. Scream, I mean, you know what? Scream has never actually been at the top of my must-watch player list, to be honest with you, but this season, Season 5, a little bit of hangover from Season 4, Ryan, I have loved watching this guy play.
He's been really, really good. I think that he and Mask are the two that kind of had the claim to best NA jungler through the first few regular season splits. And it's had such a good performance at the summer finals that I think that he can inject his name into that conversation. But Scream's been consistently good for well over a year.
That's it.